Hey, what's up? It's me. I'm back in my home studio. I wanted to make a video of my home studio right now because right now is about the largest my guitar and gear collection will ever get. I'm not a pro, and really I'm not going to need a whole lot of guitars and gear for my home recording activities that really happen kind of like on a part-time when I can do it basis. I also realized something very, very important. And that is that I always need to be myself. Right now, there should be like a rainbow effect with a unicorn flying by with... Okay, there we go. So what do I mean by that? Well, like a lot of us musicians, we grow up listening to the music we like, and we try to emulate it. But it's really important when you're emulating to use that as a starting off point to kind of get into your own sound. And I realized that I've really been trying to imitate other people's sounds, getting stuff that they liked, and trying to convince myself that I like it, even though I don't really like it. By the mid-2000s, I was really into the great indie rock coming out at the time, and I wanted to be the next Ben Gibbard. I wanted to be the next Win Butler. I wanted to be the next Sufjan Stevens, because the way they sung, their songs really touched something in my soul, and I wanted to do the same for other people, and I try to, but the truth is I don't have the sensibilities of those artists. I just don't have that kind of sensitive soul. I know that sounds bad, and it probably is bad, but the truth is my personality is more like Trent Reznor. You know, I'm angry, not because I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life, but because I'm freaking bored now. So I was obsessing over my pedal board, this massive thing behind me, and realized, wow, I have a lot of redundant stuff. I have pedals that I don't ever use. Now, really, I'm trying to simplify.
Simplify, man!
I mean, really, for the longest time, I was just finding a reason to use these pedals. And I always seem to find the worst opportunity to use these pedals. I mean, there's a reason I don't play live. I mean, once things start to go off the rails, they really go off the rails. I'd like to do a special performance for the bride and groom on their special day. That just reminds us all that you absolutely need love, the love of your life, to get through life in a loving way. Congratulations once again. To lead a better life, I need my love to be yours. Oh man, this is going great. I'm loving this. You know what I haven't used in a while? Phaser. That'd be sweet. I think they're digging it. Okay, maybe not. What do I do now? Alright, calm down. FM4, you're good. And I look at my pedal board and I think, man, how'd you get so big? I look at my pedal chain and I think, man, how'd you get so long? Why am I thinking about Trent Reznor lyrics now? Oh, 9 Inch Nails, yes. Anyways, enough of that tomfoolery. But let's talk about the pedals I'm getting rid of. Alright, number one is one I've had a very long time, since 2004 I believe, and it's a turbo tube screamer. Before Equipboard, there was a site called guitargeek.com. I'm pretty sure it's still around. But that site showed us a lot of the pedal boards of some of my favorite artists, and this was a pretty common denominator. And I got this thinking, Yeah, I'm gonna be like those guys. But I had to turn the treble up on the amp all the way. This one just tended to push the mids out a little more than I preferred. And I've honestly never been happy with it. It's just something I tried to convince myself that I liked because so many of my favorite artists like it. Again, being true to myself, we're getting rid of this. Next, Carbon Copy MXR. This is a Bucket Brigade analog delay, and it does kind of decay as it repeats, and it's not my favorite thing. Alright, album time. If you don't have your music on CDs, you're obviously doing it wrong. Physical media. That's the best way to experience music. You have to go through all the throwaway tracks that a band does just to fulfill their record contract in order to understand the essence of music or whatever. I'm totally kidding, of course, but like, of course, before there was Spotify, we had to get music like this. I mean, we didn't have to. I held out longer. I mean, I still have a lot of like 2000s, 2010s albums, so forth. So anyway, album of this video that I really want to highlight. The reason why I got this is because when I saw this dude, Avi Buffalo, at the Rock and Roll Hotel in 2010, I like peeked over at his pedal board like, hey, what you got over there, man? I want that sound. And I saw he had one of these, and yeah, I tried to incorporate it in my sound, but it didn't really work for me. Avi Buffalo, released in 2010. And it really does capture like the uncertainty of adolescence. Really, really beautiful album. From the same label as this gem, Oh Inverted World. If you like this, you will probably like this Avi Buffalo album. I really think this was unappreciated in its time. A similar album to that is Lorde's Pure Heroine, one of my favorite albums of between 2011 and 2020. And it really captures adolescence, the uncertainty, you know, it was beautiful. Like, I love Pure Heroine by Lorde. Okay, that aside is done. The thing is, I'm not Avi Buffalo. He's a great jazz-inspired guitarist, and I mean, I don't know jazz for shit. Okay, next pedal I'm selling is the Jekyll and Hyde Distortion and Overdrive. This pedal was made famous by the Strokes. I was looking for new distortion and a newer sound, and I really like the Strokes. The weird thing about this pedal for me is that if you strummed something, there would be this layer of air, and then the distortion would come out. So it always started off with big whoosh, you know, like a bomb going off or something, just this pressure wave. And I really didn't like that about this pedal. I'm not sure why it does it. Yeah, for that reason, I hardly ever pushed it. Don't really enjoy it. Not for me. Of course, you know, it could work for somebody else. Hey, what's up? So yeah, let's get personable with me and my new slim down pedal board now. I think it's funny I made a big deal about wanting to simplify and slim down when really I have a net loss of one pedal. I got rid of 3, but I added 2 more, so oops, I guess there goes that mission there. Anyways, we're really just redoing things. We're trying to get a more focused sound and work with what we have. So, here we go, the new pedal board. One thing I like right away about this pedal board is that it's an actual pedal board. It's not just this mess. Before, the actual metal rack part didn't actually need to be there. It was just kind of floating around anyways. But here, I actually Velcroed the pedals in. And you know, that's serious. That's commitment, you know, once you put that Velcro down on a pedal board. With this pedal board, I can actually go and gig with it if I wanted to. These two, the Avalanche Run and the FM4, have their own power sources. I can always take them if I needed them. Let's just start off at the start of the pedal chain, why not? So we're starting with the Keeley Fuzz Bender like before, and it's replacing my Big Muff Pi, which I used for a very long time, but after 20 years it started having reliability issues. Anyway, the Fuzz Bender, I was a little skeptical at first. I thought the bias thing was a little gimmicky, but I actually really like it. Even without the bias, the fuzz sound, there's an epicness to it, you know, there's a grandeur to it, and awe. Alright, following that we have the Polytune tuner. I used the Boss chromatic tuner for a long time, but with this one, the auto detect is a little better. With the Boss one, you actually had to like bend down and change the scale you wanted to do. Following that, the wah pedal is now on the pedal board. We have the Maleko Chorus next. A new addition here is a clone. It's a clone. It's the Mosky clone for 33 bucks on Amazon. Like, I just don't believe in spending a whole lot of money on pedals. Okay, following that is the MXR phaser, and I just think the phaser adds a little bit of spice, you know, to the to a solo. It's just got that je ne sais quoi, you know? Following the phaser is the Maleko Sneak Attack. For the longest time, I thought it didn't work, but I realized that was because I had it in the effects loop. And once I put it before the effects loop in my amp, it worked pretty much perfectly. Truthfully, since I thought it was broken for so long, I don't know this pedal that well, and I'm just gonna try to learn a little bit more about it. It's kind of like a tremolo, but it has you could specify how the attack and decay, the waveform. It's really interesting. You get some interesting results. Okay, following the sneak attack, we go to the equalizer, and for this is just adding a different tone. Like, it sounds like a completely different guitar part at times. Just using the Behringer one for 30 bucks. So from there, that goes into this crazy ass Line 6 Filter Modeler 4, and this is a little unique because for this, it doesn't really matter where it is in your pedal chain. It just takes over everything. The FM4 is nuts, you know. I'm gonna try to use it for like interesting bridges, kind of like adding kind of like a spacey, kind of, you know, trippy kind of vibe to bridges, to solos, that kind of thing. And it's still used by John Frusciante, my hero guitarist. The GOAT, in my opinion. Anyways, from there, that goes back to that amp. It goes to the main input, and then the effects loop starts. I'm still a little iffy on effects loops in general. I'm not sure if they really bring like that much to the table. The effects loop comes back out and starts over here with this Behringer Ultra Tremolo, which is kind of redundant because I thought that was broken, and now I kind of have, now I'm doubled up on tremolos a little bit. Following that, we're at the Avalanche Run Decay Reverb, and I really like it. I mean, I put like reverse delay. It's kind of like an obnoxious little hack I have to kind of make me sound like a much better guitarist than I am, but I really like it. Okay, and then Loop Station. So that's it, slimmed down pedal board. I'm pretty excited for what the future will hold. Okay, so let's now talk about guitars. And I thought I'd do this in chronological order, going with my very first, which unfortunately could not make an appearance today. It was black and white Ibanez that came in a starter pack with an Ibanez amp, and it was actually pretty fucking sweet. But I don't know what happened to it. It kind of just got lost in the shuffle. However, in 2002, I had a little bit of money, and I was able to buy this, which is made in Mexico Telecaster, and purchased in 2002. In Burgundy Wine Red, I believe, is the Fender name for this. Over the years, it did start to have problems, but then actually my brother did me a solid and put an American standard Telecaster neck on it. Just the age of this guitar being over 20 years old at this point, it just makes it special. It makes it sound really good. This is probably its fourth set of pickups. I was out of commission for a little bit, but it's sounding really good now, and it plays pretty perfectly. It's always great to have like an extra guitar that you don't mind getting damaged. So if someone comes up to me and says, hey, we need a guitar for an event, do you have one to let us borrow some? I will say, sure, have this one. Hey, fun fact, I have its original neck right here, just hanging on my wall. This is the main Mexico neck, and as you can see, it has received quite a bit of play and damage. Oh, so heavy. Oh, Mahogany Stratocaster. So, oh, I just remembered, I went out of order really quick. The way I see it, the Burgundy Wine Telecaster and this one, the Seagull, are my Chicago guitars. And I bought this off of a DePaul University student in 2006, my first ever acoustic. Before that, I had been borrowing acoustic guitars from random friends, and I'm sure they were getting pretty tired of it. So I bought one on my own in 2006, Seagull. No electronics in it. I had to use one of those slip-in pickups, which I still have. Okay, now that that's taken care of, we could talk about the Strat. So in 2007, I'd been working at my first salary job for about a year, and I had a little bit of money, and I had always wanted an American Fender. American Fenders were like $1,100, $1,200 at the time. But, however, I saw this for sale, and this was like an American-made kind of special edition Mahogany Stratocaster, and it had a humbucker here and then two single coils. And this is the problem with ordering online. I got it and I was just like not thrilled with it. And it had many different iterations. It had lace sensors at one point, and now it's got this like double P90 clone from, I believe these are Lorde pickups. I'm going to try to play the same riff to see how they sound different. When I was doing my last album, it was this and the telly that you just saw, and that telly wasn't working. So this was pretty much the powerhouse that recorded pretty much all of the guitar parts of my latest album. And I gotta say, abalone inlays, I mean, those are so cool. I love abalone dot inlays. Okay, guitar number 4 is this precision bass. Now, how did this come about? I don't know. I mean, it looks kind of funky, right? It's got these, like, scratch marks in it, and, I don't know. It looks like someone just put some household paint on it. This started out as kind of like a trade between me and my brother, and it started as a Fender precision bass. Sorry. No. It started as a Squier precision bass in Sunburst, and that got traded and eventually came back as a red jazz bass. Then my brother took hold of this again, and now I got this kind of funky thing. You know, it works, so... Okay, the next guitar I got was way later. Basically, in the mid-2010s, family and life happened, and guitar shopping was put way on the back burner. But I got lucky enough to get back into being able to purchase guitars for myself. So in 2021, in pure bored as hell during the pandemic fashion, I picked this up, which is a Lake Placid Blue custom Telecaster. USA made, original 60s reissue, and I think it just looks absolutely beautiful. So it's a nitro cellulose finish, just like in the 60s, and this lovely color, which I absolutely adore, double lined. Just, you can tell just by the gain that it's not a really hot pickup. Okay, and let's just do that same riff we were doing. So as you can see, a lot of twang to this, and there's just this thing you can't really explain. There's this nuance, this better definition, at least in my ears, than like the other telly, that made in Mexico one. And really, it's these kind of intangible things you get that really make this worth the money. Alright, so let's move on. So, in 2021, I got that original 60s Telecaster in blue, which looks amazing. And at some point, I picked this up. I know this sounds weird, but I needed a guitar, an acoustic guitar that I liked. No, the Seagull I like a lot. Really, it doesn't play as well as it used to. And the Taylor, honestly, in my opinion, Taylor and Martin's, for me, sound great at the guitar store, but when you take it home, like, most people don't have great acoustics, and it just doesn't sound as good. So I did something weird at Guitar Center, and I actually sat down and I tried a lot of guitars. I didn't go by brand name, and I just sat down, tried a bunch of different guitars. I know I wanted a cutaway for, this kind of action here. And this is the one I landed on, Washburn. I really knew very little about them, but it really played the best for me. I really like the neck. The neck slides up and down really well. So, and I think it sounds amazing. Following that is another acoustic guitar, and this was actually something I bought for my son. It was $180. And now I understand why, like, kids don't really get started with guitar until they're about 10 to 11 years old. I mean, my son is 10, going to be 11, and I think he's going to be about ready to start. But when I bought this, his hands are really just too small for it. So this is a kid's guitar, a Gretsch, my first Gretsch ever. And it sounds terrible. Give me a second, let me retune this. Okay, so I kind of tuned this, but it's not really sounding that great. I'm not going to play anything with it. Come here. Hey, exciting news. I just got you your very own guitar. And I tuned it to open C so that you could just strum anything and it'll sound good.
Wow, that's so cool, Dad.
Alright, so you're gonna use it and try to come up with your own chord progressions and melodies?
Yeah.
Alright, Axel, now go off with your new guitar.
A few moments later.
Okay, and now we move on to the guitars I recently acquired. And I'm getting to know them, and I'm really liking, especially this Jag-Stang. I mean, it's really light, plays really well. It feels really heavy here. This feels really solid. Although, I'm not really sure what happened to this guitar. Look, it's got a number of significant bruises. We got one here, all the way down to the wood. Like a chip here. What happened to this? Obvious that, like, it wasn't stored in the best conditions long term. I mean, this pickguard is kind of peeling up. Even my dog wants to know what happened to this. I feel like whoever got this, their parents were like moving, were just like, let's just chuck it in the truck. Who did this to you? Who did this to you? Don't worry, you're safe now. You're safe. But otherwise, it's really solid. I mean, I can see why Japanese guitars are so coveted because, I mean, this feels so solid. It feels unbreakable almost. It's already gone through a lot, but it still plays like really, really good. Anyway, like the others, let's do a little bit of Weezer to demo it, but I'm going to use another song this time, if you don't mind. guitar, the true vintage pre-CBS 64 Jaguar. Looks very beautiful. Nitro finish fading away. It does have some blemishes. So, I mean, I don't know the condition. It feels like this was something that was probably hung on a wall or something, but who knows how this happened. It's been refretted, but everything else is original. There's no, at the time they had these mechanical string muters here, but this one doesn't have it. I don't know. There's just so much history in that headstock, don't you think? Look at the cracking. I don't know. I really love this guitar. So, hey, let's just use that same loop of Island in the Sun to demo it. Okay, so here it is, the entire guitar collection in one place. You know I'm not a very religious person, but I am praying that these guitars up here do not just randomly fall, as they're balanced pretty precariously on the top of that couch. On second thought, I should have put those down here and put these cheaper ones up there, but hindsight is 20/20. So yeah, if you're wondering what the guitar collection looks like for a pretty mediocre guitarist who went into another profession and now earns a slightly above average income, well, here you go. Accumulated over 20 years, but obviously the last few years have been pretty good to me since these 3 most expensive guitars I just acquired in the last 2 years. Yeah, I'm really loving this guitar collection. There will probably be more. I think for right now I'm pretty much done with Fender just because I'm overloaded on Fender guitars. Fender. I don't know, I just like Fender guitars. Gibson guitars, whenever I play them, the neck just feels humongous to me. I don't know why, it just feels giant, a Gibson neck. But guitars I really want are a Gretsch White Falcon. And I also kind of want a PRS, maybe a Silver Sky, or that semi-hollow one that's ridiculously expensive. But we'll see. Right now I think I have to take a break from the guitar collecting to give my bank account some time to rest. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you got something out of this, although I'm not really sure what that would be. I probably should have thought of that before I started making this video, huh? Anyways, take care, and good luck on all of your guitar and music playing journeys.